Hi, this is Kevin at the Virtual Planetarium at Raritan Valley Community College. Welcome to our weekly Star Talk. Today we're going to talk about a few things that are going on in the sky this week. So let's get started talking about our moon. We have a new moon on June 10th. We have a first quarter moon on June 18th. And then the full moon of the month is going to be on June 24th. Now that new moon on June 10th is the one that's going to have its own solar eclipse. That's the one we talked about in last week's video. If you missed that, I'm going to put the link in the description of this video. But just as a reminder, the eclipse is going to start at sunrise. So if you go outside as the sun is rising, the eclipse is already going to be underway. As another reminder, you should never look directly at the sun because it can cause irreversible damage to your eyesight. So if you want to look at this eclipse, you should get some eclipse glasses to look safely at the sun. And if you don't have access to any eclipse glasses, you can always make a pinhole projector. Again, description on how to make that is in the last video, so I'll put that in the description of this video. Like I said, the eclipse is going to be underway as the sun is rising, and the sun rises at 5:30 in the morning, so you have to be up early for this one. Now, you've probably noticed that the sun keeps rising earlier and earlier every day, and that is because we are quickly approaching the summer solstice. The summer solstice is the longest day of the year, and that's going to happen around June 20th. So right now the sun is rising at about 5:28, and then as the days go on, it's going to rise a little earlier and earlier. So that's why the eclipse is going to be so early. Sorry. Now, if you go outside in the next few weeks, you're going to be noticing something get brighter and brighter towards the eastern part of the sky as the sun is setting. On June 12th, if you look towards the west, just after sunset at about 8:30, before it gets completely dark, you're going to notice a very small crescent phase in the sky. It's going to be a very thin crescent. It's actually probably going to look gorgeous, so you should go outside and take a look at that. But just below that crescent moon, there's going to be a very faint dot. And this is the planet Venus. Venus is going to be rising earlier and earlier every day. So in a few weeks and about a month or so, it'll be very easy spot in the sky and very bright. But if you go out this week, you should be able to see it just over the western horizon after the sun sets and before it gets dark. And then as it gets darker and darker, it'll get brighter and brighter until it finally sets at around 9:15, 9:30. So you should definitely try to go catch that and find that in the sky. Now, in a little bit of space news, we have another delay for the beloved James Webb Space Telescope. Now, in case you haven't heard of this telescope, here we have it right here. It's called the James Webb Telescope. The original launch date was actually 2007, so it's been delayed quite a bit. In these delays, it's actually overgone a lot of redesign. So this is the final design right here of the James Webb Space Telescope. And this telescope is actually going to be bigger than the Hubble telescope. So here we have a comparison of the two mirrors. We have Hubble down here in the bottom corner and then James Webb over here. And we can see that it's more than twice as big as the Hubble Space Telescope. Now, James Webb is not going to be a visible light telescope. It's going to be looking in infrared, and that means that it's not going to be looking at the same thing that we see with our eyes or the same thing that Hubble looks at. Here we have two pictures comparing visible light and infrared light, and we're looking at the same thing. This picture on the left right here is visible light, and we can see a dust column over here in space, and we can see the brighter stars in front of it and some stars past it. We don't really see much through that gas. Now, the cool thing about looking in infrared is that we can actually see through the gas and dust and see the stars that are beyond this cloud. That's why James Webb is going to be so important, because it's going to be a very powerful infrared telescope, so we're going to be able to see through this gas even clearer than in this picture. So it allows us to learn more about star formation and the origins of the universe. So that'll be really, really cool. If you notice this weird boat that James Webb Telescope is kind of floating on, this is actually a shield for the sun. So like I said, this is going to be looking at infrared light. And infrared light is basically heat. So this shield is actually going to protect the telescope from the sun's heat and from the sunlight. So that way, as it's looking out into the sky and looking out into the stars, it won't be interfered with by the sun or the sun's heat. It's actually going to be pretty far away from the Earth as well. It's going to be about 1.5 million kilometers away at what is known as the second Lagrange point, or L2 right here. And that means it's going to be pretty isolated from interference from the Earth as well. So that'll be pretty cool. Unfortunately, this was delayed yet once again, but now the launch date is set for November 2021, so hopefully it won't be delayed any further from that, and we'll be able to get good science from this very fascinating piece of technology. Thank you so much for joining us this week for the Star Talk. Hope you learned something new. Definitely try to catch that upcoming solar eclipse on June 10th. Remember, never look directly at the sun unless you have eclipse glasses, because it can permanently hurt your eyes, and nobody wants that. You can also make a pinhole projector like we described last week, so you can look up that video in the description to learn how to make a pinhole projector. If you like this video, please give us a like, and if you're not subscribed to our channel, please do so. Each week we're going to be putting out a new video about the stars and space, so keep following us for more. Thanks, and have a great week.